we can proceed with our discussion tonight. We're looking at some of the ways, some of the things we can do as parents and as teachers that would enable us raise children who can think for themselves. We want to raise independent learners. We want to raise learners who can think for themselves, who are confident, right? And this is what we are looking at tonight. We're looking at strategies that any parent, any caregiver can employ to raise children who are confident. Now, I have two goals for us today. First of all, we're going to be looking at the 4 pillars to raising confident and independent learners. We'll be looking at 4 pillars to raise confident and independent learners. Secondly, we're going to be looking at some of the strategies that you can employ as a parent or a caregiver to raise learners who are confident and independent, right? So these are the 2 things we'll be looking at today. Please confirm if you're following me. I'll be very happy to get your comments in the comment section, okay? Now, the first thing I would like to draw our attention to is what exactly is the real goal to raising learners? What exactly is the real goal? You see, one of the problems we have is that we have parents who are constantly thinking about grades. We have parents who are constantly looking out for how their children are performing. And in a bid to help their children perform better academically, we see parents who constantly continue to break the emotions of their child and then constantly begin to make these children lose confidence in themselves and even in what they know or have the ability to do. So one of the things we want to straighten out here is, first and foremost, we want to exactly know what the real goal is. What exactly is the goal to raising children who are confident? If you want a child who is confident, there must be certain goals you must lay out to ensure that you raise children who are confident. Number one is that you must have at the back of your mind that you are not raising children because of their grades, right? Your goal should not be for grades. It should not be the grades, the academic performance of the child. Why this is important? This must not be your central focus. Now, if you are a parent who has a keen interest in how your child is performing, academically, you're looking at the grades and all of that, you may have been losing out on raising a child who is confident and who can think for his or herself. Your goal should be to raise lifelong learners rather than raising children who are giving you the grades, right? I remember back in the days while we were in school, we had some of these learners students who are performing really well, academically, right? Their grades are in the 5 points, the 4 points plus, and all of that. Some of them are really smart learners. But then you find out that when it comes to issues of life, when you come to handling problems or providing solutions, standing in front of an audience to speak or to do something, you discover that you have learners who absolutely know nothing about it. Learners, you see these people, they could not speak in public, they cannot address the crowd, they cannot say anything, but they're intelligent and they can answer questions and have good grades. So good grades must not be our focus if we want to raise children who are holistic. Now, let me balance this here. Does that mean that our children should fail because we want them to be confident? Not at all. One of the things you'll be learning tonight is that you can raise children who are confident and competent at the same time. Now, if you hamper their confidence, you would have destroyed their competence. Did you get that now? If you hamper their confidence, you would have destroyed their competence as well. Number 2, what's the second goal we must focus on? We must focus on raising children who are not just following. Who are not just following us, do what I say, do as I say. All of these things are cliche and stereotypes that we are having our children believe and live by. And this is really raising children who are timid and who will be robotic. Okay, so we don't want children who just follow you as you say, but we want children who can think for themselves. The third goal you want to have at the back of your mind as a parent is that you want to imagine a child who says, I can figure it out, right? I can figure it out. That means when a problem is brought before a child, the child should be able to say, Mom, leave this for me, I'll figure this out. give me some time, I'll find a solution to this. This is a child, this is the kind of children we ought to be raising in this 21st century. Please, if you are with me up until this point, please let me know in the comment section that you are with me. Let me know you are with me, you're learning, and you are with me. Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. We are not just raising children because of their grades. While this is important, it is not fundamental. Thank you so much, Mr. Prince, for that. Thank you. Thank you so much for following. I'm excited to see that we are following. Let's move on and discuss a few more things, right? Maybe the last goal. One of the things you want to think about as well before we move into some of the strategies that can help you is that what does confidence and independence in learning look like in your child or student? This is very, very important. What does confidence and independence look like? You see, I was deeply concerned when I started thinking about this topic because I've seen this time and time again, where in the classroom you see learners who constantly say, "Auntie, what do I do? Uncle, what do I do? Teacher, how do I go about this?" And they do not come to meet you with any proposition. This is the fastest way to kill the intelligence of any child. Did you get that? This is the fastest way to kill the intelligence of any child. The moment you see children who are literally constantly seeking permission, seeking validations from you, you are already killing the strength and the intelligence of this child. Let's take this further. We are going to be looking at 4 pillars, 4 foundational pillars that we must set up if we as parents, teachers, and educators must raise children who think for themselves, who are confident, and who are independent learners. We want to look at 4 pillars, solid, concrete pillars that you can set up as a parent, as an educator, and you'll be able to have learners who are confident and who can think for themselves. What are these 4 pillars? Pillar number one is the force of confidence. Now, why am I reiterating the topic now? Why are we talking about confidence first? Because confidence is the foundation of all learning, right? If you want to raise holistic learners, learners who are confident and learners who can think for themselves, who are independent, the first thing you want to work on is the confidence of the child. Okay, confidence is one of the things that turns mistakes into stepping stones. So if you're writing, you need to write that down. Confidence is one of the things that turns mistakes into stepping stones. So if you are a parent, you want to focus on building the confidence of your child. Now, what are some of the things you can do as a parent to instill this confidence in your child? You see, this is quite interesting that many parents do not know some of these things, and it's imperative that we sit down to learn and begin to implement some of the things we'll be sharing, right? What are some of the things you can do every day to improve the confidence of your child? Number one is that you want to praise efforts and not just results. You want to write this down anywhere. Write it down first in your notebook and then in your mind. You want to first of all praise efforts, not just the results. If you see a child who has constantly committed himself to learning, to studying every day, however, the child did not come out with a good performance academically, your goal as a parent to raise a confident child should be not the result. Even if the child performs well, I want you to know that one of the foundational principles and one of the foundational thought patterns you must have is to praise the effort of the child, not the results of that child. You see parents constantly, the moment a result comes, I've seen this time and time again, the first thing we run to look at is what did the child score in English, what did the child score in mathematics, what did the all of these things, and you want to look at the class average. All those things are really important. But the first thing you want to focus on building and in helping your child learn is to praise the effort. I see that you really spent a lot of time studying and preparing for these exams. Little wonder you got this result. I understand that this result is not the best, but I want to let you know that I appreciate the effort you put into studying. This is you raising a confident child. You are going to raise a child that will constantly go back to study. You raise a child who will constantly go back to learning and improving. We don't have time. Let's rush. Number 2, you want to celebrate small wins rather than massive victory. You want to celebrate small wins. What are those little milestones that your child is hitting every day? You want to acknowledge the fact that this child is doing well in these areas. You want to prioritize this thing. Celebrate the small wins. Okay, it is little wins that bring about great victory tomorrow. So celebrate small wins. Okay. Number 3, normalize mistakes as learning. This is very, very important. And you know, parents are fond of trying to raise perfect learners. We subconsciously want to raise learners who are perfect. You see, parents always want to raise learners who are perfect. They want to see that their child is doing well. You just want to raise perfect children. You weren't perfect while you were growing up. You made a lot of mistakes. A friend of mine used to say that mistakes are proof that we are learning. So you want to normalize mistakes. If a child makes a mistake, don't be in a hurry to tell the child, why did you do this? How did you get here? No, you just kill the confidence of the child. The first thing you want to do when a child makes mistake is to show them, well, you've done this poorly. What do you think we can do better? How do we address this? Okay, now you've seen the mistakes, you've seen the error. What do you think we should do next? You want to identify some of the things the child is doing and how the child can improve on it. This is very, very important. Number 2 is, the last point here in building the confidence of your child is you want to share your own struggles. I want to dwell here a bit to say that we are not perfect people. Parents, you are not perfect. Teachers, you are not perfect. So do not try to force your child to be perfect too. We are humans and we make mistakes. So don't allow your child to see you as a perfect human being, one who has not made any mistakes before. This is the fastest way to kill a child's confidence, right? You've made mistakes before. Share your mistakes with your child. I, for one, didn't do well in my first JAMB. I got admission with a poor JAMB despite being an excellent and intelligent child. I was intelligent, I did well, I studied well, but I didn't get the kind of grade I was looking for in my JAMB. But did I get admission? Yes. Did I do well in school? Yes. This is a story I share. So when I meet a learner who has performed poorly in JAMB, I'm not in a hurry to criticize the child. JAMB result is coming out real soon. And you see a lot of parents ready to start throwing blames on their children and all of that. You will ruin the child's foundation. No, share your struggles. You didn't do well yourself. You made mistakes yourself. You've had carryovers before. You failed in your business before. You've made mistakes. Share your struggles with your child and let your child see that he or she is not alone. This is what I did. This is the mistakes I made. And this is how I bounced back. I've not always been perfect. This is very, very important. If you're learning, please let me know you're learning in the comment section. I'll be very happy to see that you're learning. You're learning, and share this link with someone. These are valuable, paid, what you're learning is really highly valuable things that would highly cost you to learn. So I'll need you to share this with a parent that needs to be here. Some of our parents need to hear these things. We need to raise children who are confident. It breaks my heart to see robotic children in our day and time. We see children who are constantly afraid to try. We see children who are constantly afraid to make mistakes. We see children who are constantly afraid to take the next step. They always ask you for questions for trivial issues. You are raising robotic children. You want to make this adjustment today. Please share this link with someone. A parent needs to hear this, and do not hesitate to subscribe to this link. We'll be having several trainings every month so you can learn and help raise holistic children. Now, what is the second pillar to raising confident and competent learners? What is the second pillar? Second pillar is the force of autonomy. The force of autonomy. The force of autonomy. And what does autonomy mean? Autonomy means the ability of a learner to be able to, stand by themselves, to address situations. Autonomy. The ability of learners to be able to do things by themselves. This talks about autonomy, right? Now, how do you raise children who who can do things by themselves? Like I said, autonomy means giving children some control over how they learn, leading them to motivation, ownership, and stronger thinking. You want them to be able to stay by themselves, to learn by themselves, and to think for themselves. So what are some of the things you can do to foster autonomy? I'm going to just share 3 points with you. Number one of the things you want to do as a parent is offer choices. Offer choices. This is very, very important and is a very, very foundational principle to raising children who can think for themselves and who can be independent, right? Excuse me. Offer choices, right? Offer choices to them. When it comes to reading books, don't just throw a book at your child and say, read this now. You will raise a robotic child. You raise a child with, mommy, what should I read? Daddy, what should I read? What should I do now? And they don't know what to do. So instead of insisting that your child does what you want, it's time for you to offer them choices. You're about to dress up for church, or you're about to go out, bring the clothes before them. What clothes would you like to wear? Bring the choices. Bring 3, 4 choices for the child. So pick one of the clothes, whatever you want, and whatever the child picks, allow the child to go out that way, right? Offer choices to them. What book do you want to do? Okay, it's time for homework. You have homework in math, you have homework in English, you have homework in science. Don't just say start with maths because you love maths. No, allow the child to pick. What do you want to start learning? Okay, which of the homeworks would you like to do first? Would you like to start with math? Come on, go ahead, pick the one you want to start with. Allow the child to pick for themselves. Number 2, let them plan small parts of their day. This is very, very important. I have some of my parents, I'm sure some of them are following right now, that allow their children to plan the day. They sit down in the morning, the child has a journal, and they pick their journal and they literally plan the day. They have these little books, they just write out how their day will be like. Just, draft this thing down, right? We want to start to instill this kind of discipline in our children. Let your child plan the day. Okay, how's your day going to look like? What do you want to do in the morning? What key activity would you do in the afternoon? And what are you going to be doing in the evening? This is very, very important. The last step I'm going to share with you to raising children to foster autonomy in your child is to step back. Come on, parent. Don't be always involved in everything the child is doing. As important as these things are, if you've set up the principles, if you've set up the systems and the structure for your child to learn, step back. Allow them to fail. Allow them to make mistakes. Allow them to do it their way. Very humorous story. I see there was a parent, the child was literally coloring and the parent was literally taking the hand of the child to color the entire thing. The goal of the coloring activity is to allow the child to independently do it. The teachers are aware that this child will not be perfect. The child is 3-year-old, for crying out loud. Shouldn't force the child to perfectly color the square or the circle. No, allow them make mistakes. Allow them do it their way. Let them scribble around. Let them do what they're doing. Allow them. This will foster autonomy. Allow the child. Step back and let them try. This is very, very important. Pillar number 3. Are you learning? Please, if you are learning, I need to see what you're learning. Write it down in the comment section below. Let me see what you're learning. I'll be very, very happy to see that you're learning something tonight. The next thing we want to look at, right? The next thing we want to look at is the third pillar, right? The third pillar is the force of learning skills. The force of learning skills, right? There are certain skill sets that you want to insist that your child should learn. Skill sets. These are very, very important. What are some of the things? Teach your child how of learning. Teach your child. How do they learn? Very important. Teach them important skills, goal setting. What are your goals for the term? What do you intend to achieve? How do you intend to improve in this area? What are your goals? Teach your child to set goals, especially if they've come of age. Let them be able to set their goals and prioritize what they want to do in a particular season, in a particular term. Let them set goals, daily goals, very important, right? Very, very important. Okay. Number 2 is time management. Time management. Teach them time management, right? Teach them how to manage their time effectively. What should you do first? What should you do next? This is very, very important. Teach your child time management. Time management strategies are important in this day and age. You want to teach your child how to manage their time effectively. Number 3, some of the learning skills you want to teach your child to raise children who are independent, children who can think for themselves, who can stand by themselves. Very important. The next thing you want to do is to ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. These skills are very, very important. Ask the right questions. Ask them questions that will force them to think. Ask them questions that will force them to, to deeply reflect. Are we together? This is very, very important, right? Very important. Ask the right question. How are you going to go about this? Okay? How are you going to go about this? Empower curiosity. Ask them, what are you curious about? What are you thinking about? What would you like to do? Okay? This is you fostering critical thinking. This is you fostering independence. The mind of the child is now thinking, looking for the way out. Instead of you having a robotic learner, you are able to instill this discipline and independence in your child, right? How could you find out? You ask them questions. Okay, how do you intend to get started with this? How do you intend to solve this problem? What strategies will you implement to solve this problem? What are you going to do first? What are you going to do secondly? How would you solve this? How would you go about this? Allow them to think. Ask them questions that will foster critical thinking. This is very, very important. The final pillar I'll be sharing with you tonight is the force of guidance. The force of guidance. Now, parents are often regarded as guardians to their children because they, are able to guide their children to learn, to improve, to do well. And this is very, very important, right? But then we must put to perspective what guidance has to do with raising holistic learners, learners who can think for themselves, learners who can be confident, learners who can be independent, right? So one of the things you want to focus on is to be a guide and not a boss, right? You want to write that down in the notebook you're writing, that you want to be a guide and not a boss to your child. We have a lot of bossy parents this day and this generation. Bossy parents, go to your room now, read your book now. No, we don't raise children that way. You don't raise children that way. That was not how you were raised. So you shouldn't raise your learners that way. You want to raise children who can think for themselves. Be a guide, not a boss. Instead of doing that, design a structure. What is your plan? Sit down with your child. Hi, Junior, sit with me. Come, we need to talk about how you spend so much time on TV this day. So we need to talk about how our routine will look like going forward. So I wouldn't want you to constantly be on screens every day. So you need to do something interesting, something that would help you improve and grow. So in the morning, you do this. In the afternoon, this is the time for screen time. What would you do in the morning? These are the sets of activities you can do in the morning, and you schedule the activity. Now you're putting structure. You see, it will even save you stress. Some parents reach out to me and they say, well, if not for the TV that they turn on for their child, the child will always disturb them. They can't do anything active. No, you're ruining the life of the child, right? So you want to put up structure, systems and structure that will help your child to grow by themselves, right? So be a guide. This is the first thing you want to put. Be a guide. You're a guardian to the child. You're not a boss. Don't be a boss. Don't be bossy. Go to your room now. Read your book now. It's time for... The child will figure out a way to trick you and not read. Write that down. Any child you insist you form bossy on, these children are very creative people. The children we are growing these days, these are 21st century children. They are very, very innovative. I saw a video online of a child who hid his tablet in his textbook and was literally playing game on the tablet, hidden in the textbook. When the parents came, he just hid it and started flipping, and the parent was not aware. The newer strategies are coming up. You don't want to raise children who are afraid of you, who are running when they see you, right? Let them be able to be happy that they have a guardian. You should be able to run to you for support, right? So maybe one of the points you want to write down now is to support your child and not control your child. Support your child, do not control them. Be a guide, not a boss. Number 3, ask instead of instruct. Write this down. You want to ask your child instead of instructing the child. What do you think we should do? Okay, I have so many choices of food to cook today. What do you think we can cook today? What do you want us to do? This, you ask, ask, ask instead of instructing your child. And the 4th point here in raising, in the pillar of, what's it called now? The force of guidance is let them think through challenges. Let your child think through challenges. Let them think. Let them think through challenges. It's not easy, let them think through it. You see the child, we have parents that are quick to rescue their children. This is your first child, so you don't want any blemish on the child. The child has to be spotless and clean. This is not the way to raise a child who is independent. No. Allow them think through their challenges. They get stuck, let them figure it out. I see some parents, I ask some of my parents to encourage their children to do puzzles, word search, and all of those things. And then you see parents quickly, run to the rescue of the child. Maybe the child is trying to solve a particular problem, is looking for a word in the word search, and the child is not finding it out. Allow the child stay there. Find it. Encourage the child. Okay, I see you can't find it. Do you want to take a short break? Take a 5-minute break, come back, and you try again. You can see the word there. Allow them think through challenges. You see the child struggling to carry a chair, and the chair is our child size. They should be able to carry it. Allow them. Allow them. Yes, thank you very much. Step back. Thank you for that. Allow them. Allow them do it. Don't be in a hurry to rescue your child. I know you are a superhero, super mother, super father, super everything. Very eager to run to their rescue. Oh, Junior, you can't wash your clothes. Allow mommy help you wash it. So that the child will see you as the love of their life. I'm sorry, you are ruining your child's confidence. You are ruining your child's competence. You are ruining your child's independence. Allow them. Think through their challenges. If they wash their socks themselves, it's not clean, let them wear it like that. Did you get that? They wash their socks themselves and it's not clean, let them wear it like that. If they make their bed and they didn't make it well, let them sleep on it like that. Did you get that? Allow them. So now that you're lying on a rough bed, what do you do now so that your bed will be straightened? Let them think through their challenge. Now you see them thinking independently. This is very, very important. This is very, very important. So I believe you're getting value. Just to tie up the knots, I didn't intend for this session to be long and lengthy, but I'm sure that you've been able to pick up points that will be beneficial to raising children who are confident, children who are independent, children who can think for themselves, right? So I'm just going to give you a toolkit. I call it a toolkit that you can use to, help your child think through. So I was just as in a bit to recap what we're discussing, I was sharing with us some toolkits that will help you raise this confident and independent child. And the first thing I mentioned here is you should ask your child, what have you tried, right? What have you tried? Please type in the comment section at what point did I lose you so I can just pick it up from there. What have you tried? Very important. Number 2, I mentioned that you should break big problems into steps. Break big problems into steps, right? Very important. break big problems into steps so that your child will be able to follow the steps sequentially. So if they have like a huge project to perform, I was mentioning earlier, is that you want to break the task into steps, right? Tell them, okay, this project we have to do will require us to, number one, get a cardboard. Number two, we need to draw. Number three, we need to color the diagrams. Now you are breaking the project into steps, and then allow the child to go ahead and do that. And the third point, I think that's where we are, is to model resilience. You want to model resilience in the heart of your child, right? Model resilience. What the resilience means, the ability to not give up. The ability to not give up. You see, I was thinking deeply about this, and I've seen a lot of adults who were robotic while they were growing up. Children, adults now, that while they were children, they never had the opportunity to think for themselves or to be independent. And I see them nowadays. You see those adults would literally register 10, 15 businesses, and none of the businesses are working, right? They start this project, it's not working, they give up. They start another one, it's not working, they give up. Jump from one Ponzi scheme to another, looking for the quickest way to make money. All of those things is a function of the poor independent thinking of the child. So you want to raise learners who are independent thinkers. I think it was one of our mentors, Wendy Ologe, who wrote a book called Raising Independent Thinkers. You want to get her book, very powerful book, very, very powerful book. You want to get it and read it. Raising Independent Thinkers, very, very important. And you should be able to get that, right? So you want to model resilience. Children who should not be able to give up. They should not give up when they try to solve problems. They should not give up. They should not give up. You want to model that resilience in the heart of your child. And the final point I'm going to mention here as part of the toolkit I'm giving you is to encourage independent help seeking. I told one of my children just recently, I was teaching her, and I shared with her 4 steps to solving any problem. And maybe I should give you those steps. So we're addressing a problem in her, was it English now or something? And then she literally came across a new word and quickly threw it at me. Mr. Johnson, what does this word mean? I know that many teachers, you want to quickly show that you're a superhero and you're very smart. I don't need to prove to a child that I'm smart. I'm smart already. I know I'm intelligent. I don't need to prove that there's no point proving that to the child. I tell the child, okay, what do you think? Right. So I gave her 4 strategies to solving her own problems. And the first thing I told her is, when you encounter a word you cannot find the solution to, get your dictionary. Get your dictionary quickly. The first thing you want to do is to get your dictionary. You must look for the meaning of that word in your dictionary. Number 2, you can check other resources, including your Bible. This is the strategies I was giving her. One of the questions she asked required us to, I think she was asking the difference between whip, like to flog, whip, WHIP, and WEEP, And I remember we quoted a scripture, John 11:35, Jesus wept. And I was trying to use the scripture to now show her the meaning of weep. And she had to look for that scripture, open her Bible, find that word in the Bible, and then looked at it in the dictionary, and then she began to juxtapose those two words, and then she understood the meaning of those things. Guess what? She will never forget it. If you quickly give solutions to these problems, they will come back to you again and again. And in fact, the solution you gave will be forgotten. But anything you see your child, painstakingly go ahead of themselves to find solution to, you usually find out that those learners would never forget it. Are we together now? So very, very important. Encourage independent help seeking. So I was sharing with you the 4 points I gave her. I told her to check her dictionary for solution. Number 2, check other resources, textbooks, including her Bible. Number 3, guided use of the internet. I told her you can use the internet to search for solutions to this, and you can just ask a parent, so mom, I want to Google what the meaning of photosynthesis is. Right? I wrote a book many years ago, 10 strategies to make your child smarter than an average kid. I think I need to revisit that book again. If you need a copy, please send me a DM on WhatsApp. I should be able to pull that book up. right? And one of the things I was sharing is how these parents, how parents can go ahead helping their child to think for themselves and help them. Various strategies I shared in there. I don't want to go into it, right? So the child should be able to walk up to you and request permission to search certain words, guided, of course, to use the internet and search for meaning. That's if they've used their dictionary, they didn't get the full meaning of what they're looking for. They've checked textbooks, and this is like these are the steps, right? They've checked textbooks, including their Bible resources, including their Bible, and they can't get solution to that. They check the internet. Now, when they check the internet and they see that the solutions are quite voluminous, then finally they can now ask a trusted adult. I gave her these 4 steps and she recited it, and she's able to now implement it. So whenever she brings a problem to me, I say, what are the 4 steps? Number 1 is what? Check your dictionary. Have you done that? No, go back. You raise children who can think for themselves and who can, search for solutions themselves. So, wrapping up and putting this all together, these are some of the things you want to do every day. Offer choices to your learners, to your child, as a parent, as a teacher, offer choices to your child. Offer choices, very important. Number 2, praise efforts. Praise efforts, praise efforts and not results. Praise efforts, the effort the child has put into solving their problems. Praise efforts and not the results. Very important. No matter how the result is, whether good or bad, praise the effort and not the results. Number 3, step back strategically. These are the points I've shared with you. Step back strategically. You want to step back and allow them figure things out for themselves. Number 4, reflect out loud. Reflect. This is you throwing out questions to the child. How are you going to solve this? What do you think we should do next? What are you going to do about this? What do you think we can do together to solve this problem? Reflect out loud and help your child to think for themselves. And number 5, encourage mistakes. Encourage mistakes. Allow your child to make mistakes. Allow your child to fail. This is a sad and painful truth. Many parents do not want to hear this, but Mr. Johnson is telling you this for free, that mistakes are not, it's not the end of the road for any child. Mistakes are only proof that our children are learning. But when they make perpetual mistake, that is why when they repeat mistakes over and over again, this is where you want to step in and address the root cause of that. But mistakes are not, should not be a sign that the child is not doing well, but it should be a stepping stone for the child to learn and improve. So we do not want to give our kids all the answers at all the time. Take this as a final takeaway from me. Don't give your kids all the answers all the time. No. You need them to ask the right questions. We need to help them to love the questions, and we need them to provide solutions for their answers. With this, we'll come to the end of our webinar for today. These are some of the things that we can do as parents to raise holistic learners who can think for themselves, learners who can thrive for themselves, learners who can grow and become independent thinkers. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'd like to see your question in the comment section. I'm just going to give a minute to see if there's any question or something you want me to address. I'm going to address that in a minute or two. And aside that, we're going to draw the curtains for tonight. Please send in your questions. I'll be happy to see that. If you've learned a thing or two, whatever it is you've learned, go ahead and put it down in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to see that. Yes, so I'm looking at my charts now to see if we have any questions. Of course, our goal is to raise learners who are independent. Our goal is to raise learners who can think for themselves. Our goal is to raise learners who are confident, right? And as I said at the beginning of this webinar, while I await questions, is that your child's confidence will have a ripple effect on their competence. So when a child is confident, the child will begin to show confidence in other areas of their life. In the absence of any other questions, we're going to draw the curtains for tonight. Okay, there are no questions here. So we're going to draw the curtains for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. There's going to be so much value we'll be sharing with you. Our goal is to help every parent, every child educator out there to raise children who are holistic, to raise children who can grow, to be independent learners, children who can thrive and do well even in our society. And we're going to be bringing power-packed teachings and trainings that will help you as a parent, as a teacher, as an educator to raise these children right. Okay, so go ahead, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you will be aware of our next training. And if you want to join we have a teachers community where we share pointers for teachers. You can go ahead and join our teachers community. You can take a screenshot of this link and join our teachers community, and we'll be more than happy to have you there. In the absence of any other question, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Mr. Johnson, and I'm the founder of the network of exceptional tutors, and I'm super excited to be your host tonight, and I'll see you again next month. Thank you so much,